Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. Today we're doing a character profile and we're going to be focusing on Carly Hamlin, who's from Changeling Heart. I have got a tooth infection at the moment, so I'm doing all of my recordings at once while I'm in the least amount of pain. So if I sound a bit like I've got too much saliva in my mouth, it's just a little uncomfortable or hissing a bit, I do apologise. It's just how I'm dealing with the pain in my mouth at the moment. Anyway, as it's a character profile, what we'll do is I'll give you a quote from the story where they're first mentioned, then I'll tell you a little bit about the character and my idea behind it, and then I'll just go straight into the profile. So, let's get into it. Carly began, showing defiance until Byron's slim fingers slapped across her face. The reaction from the woman was to kick right out into the guy's groin, felling him like a tree, but his groans alerted his goons, and they rushed the woman. One grasped out with his hands, wrestling with her for a moment before yanking her down by her arm, as the other punched her squarely in the face. That was it. It managed to get one hit before the woman punched it in the stomach, and suddenly its head was grasped tightly in strong fingers. Then, with an audible roar, the head popped clean off his shoulders, with an audible ping as the other goon froze. The woman turned to look at what had happened. Changeling Heart. Carly here was a different choice for me because I wanted different to what I had initially wrote of my dragon Ululumi as a human. I wanted someone just as tough as her, but with a more valid reason. It was only as I started figuring out how grim Slater Island was that I decided no one who lived on this island could have a good life, and as it was a Vale-related place, I had to pull in some demons, and well, to be fair, Carly's history I've trimmed to only what is not revealed later in the story, so I hope you will find it interesting all the same, and I do apologise that it is so cut. Okay, name, Carly Hamlin. Position, human. Sort of. Story featured in Changeling Heart. Role, secondary protagonist. Gender, female. Description, gold skin, curvy body, hazel eyes that are a sort of green and gold mix. Dark shoulder-length hair and tall. She wears jeans and shirts that are a size too big to give her a bit more protection, and she's ready for anything. Her body has an elegance to it, but she also has her scars, and she never likes to be treated as if she's less than anyone for being a woman or non-white. Realm, human realm. Abilities, she's just aware of the veil and smart enough to know how to protect against it, so her intelligence and her inability to back down tend to be her powers. Master herself. Personality, bold, at times aggressive, a little too untrusting of men, but very loving and affectionate to anyone in need. She has a great sense of empathy and of justice. She is practical and intelligent, and though she doesn't try to be too emotional, her overall need to protect and give others what she did not have means she will risk everything for that ideal. Carly has to protect her vulnerabilities, and so it's very hard to get to know her true self, and the fact that on the inside she has little self-worth, but for what her purpose is for others. But she will always protect those she cares about, and she is willing to learn and let people prove themselves to her. Relations, in this case, it spoils too much to talk about her relations because of what happens in the book, so I don't want to spoil things here, I'm afraid. History, it's unclear generally, but events in her childhood meant that Carly was brought into the care of the Slater Island orphanage for her own sake. Here she grew up and learnt how it worked, but also learnt about the vampires and the sacrifices the previous owner was making of the grown girls in order to keep the place running. When the original owner died but passed on the land and the duty of the orphanage to Carly, she immediately shook everything up by refusing to give over tithes to keep running, and instead taking in the battered women that were being abused too. Initially, she got help from various sources, but when the vampires really started to press at her and their territorial war became centered around ownership of the orphanage, she was in trouble and knew she was going to have to try and figure out a way to deal with it when Rab unexpectedly walked into her life. Final comments, I like Carly a lot, but most of her history and relations are revealed throughout the Changing Heart book, so I thought not to spoil too much. I do feel, though, that if I rewrote it or went over it again, maybe I'd do a bit more with Carly than I did before, make her a bit stronger, but it was a long time ago, to be fair, and she will get a cameo in a Viper book later on. Thank you. Bye.